Okay, this is a Rilke video, and decided to bring along this Rilke painting that I did some time back, and let's see if we can set it here somewhere. Okay, let's see it. Will it fit? No. Okay, so have it there on the side. So this is Reina Maria Rilke. Do you know elegies and Sonnets to Orpheus by translated by Stephen Mitchell. I think is of course my favorite translations of Rilke by Stephen Mitchell. And today, still sort of celebrating the poet, the poet as a person and as a prophet and as a human being, as a man, as a suffering human being, and as a feeling human being, as a longing human being, and a restless heart. I mean, from Greek antiquity, I think the mythologies, Orpheus has always really embodied the passion of the poet with his singing and his lyre, and how powerful his words and his singing are, and how powerful um, the words and singing of every poet has been throughout time, and the impact we've had from that from antiquity till now. And one of my favorite poets, of course, is Maria Rilke, and he writes the sonnets to Orpheus. And this one has always really stuck with me, especially right now that winter is beginning, and you always dread this period of cold that is gonna come, and you think like, are we gonna make it? Are we gonna make it through? So there's an important advice that Rilke gives us in the sonnet to Orpheus. This is sonnet number 13, where he says, "Be ahead of all parting." So he says, "Be ahead of all parting, as though it already were behind you, like the winter that has just gone by. For among these winters, there's one so endlessly winter that only by wintering through it will your heart survive. Be forever dead in Eurydice, more gladly arise into the seamless life proclaimed in your song. Here in the realm of decline, among momentary days, by the crystal cap that shattered even as it rang. Be, and yet know that the great void where all things begin, the infinite source of your most intense vibration, so that this once you may give it your perfect assent. To all that is used up, to all the muffled and dumb creatures in the world's full reserve, the unsayable sums, joyfully add yourself and cancel the count." Um, Another poem that I like, another sonnet of Orpheus. Um, let's see. This sonnet to Orpheus, of course, he wrote them for a certain young woman who died. I think she was a dancer. So, of course, taking Orpheus as a representative of the poet artist who dies young before they can, you know, really satisfy their desire. So I see a lot of elegiac sort of tone in it, of course, and reminds me of an elegy that I like, Shelley's Adonais and Milton's Lycidas. So this has always been one of my favorite of the sonnets of to Orpheus by Rilke. So sorry, number 5. Erect no gravestone for him, only this. Let the rose blossom each year for his sake. for it is the God. His metamorphosis is this and that. We do not need to look for other names. It is Orpheus once for all whenever there is song. He comes and goes. Isn't it enough if sometimes he can dwell with us a few days longer than a rose? Though he himself is afraid to disappear, he has to vanish. Don't you understand? The moment his word moves out beyond our life here, he has gone where you will never find his trace. The lyre's strings do not constrict his hands, and it is in overstepping that he obeys. So, the place of the poet, once and for all, whenever there is song, he comes and goes. So, the spirit of Orpheus is always coming and going whenever there's song. And, that's why the office of the poet is, even after others have died and gone, there still always be new ones who will come along and try to, you know, um, father the tradition, you know. And once you write the poem and it's out there, it's, it's no longer yours, it's beyond your reach. And, the lyre strings do not constrict his hands, so it is in overstepping that you obey. Sometimes you have to overstep the limits of convention in even in language, and if you're successful in overstepping, and then you have obeyed higher laws than those of the material world. So Orpheus, and like I always go back to Rilke, the elegies, and there's always something you get. I mean, that's the beauty of it, how it was composed such that it keeps giving. And it doesn't matter whether you understand it or not in a technical sense. You shall have understood it somehow. You should have touched something in you that you can't explain. And for me, that is always a more important movement than any intellectual comprehension. Thank you. See you and read you some Rilke. Bye.